Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Welcome to Hajj Day Today. This is a program dedicated entirely to covering Hajj and the various different developments, news and information, as well as in-depth discussions related to Hajj. Today is the third day of the Islamic month of Dhul Hijjah, the year 1435. We're getting closer. We're starting to count down just a few weeks away to the new year 1436. Today on the Christian calendar is the 27th of September 2014. Thank you so much for tuning in to another live edition of Hajj Day Today. We're going to continue with our news segment tonight on some of the preparations in Saudi Arabia. King Abdullah, he ordered the opening of the extended circumambulation area around the Kaaba. This is good news. It accommodates many more pilgrims who are performing the religious rites in Mecca. We'll take a look at this and a few other stories. We're also going to report from several countries around the Muslim world to look at the Muslims who are still making their way into Saudi Arabia. In particular, one of the stories is from the island nation of Maldives. The president and the first lady of Maldives, they left yesterday on their way to Saudi Arabia. We'll look again at a few other countries as well. Then also we'll look at the authorities in Saudi Arabia. They are launching a crackdown operations against despite the very sacredness of the Hajj, there are those who are participating and engaging in illegal enterprises related to Hajj, illegally smuggling in people into the country, those who have bogus or phony Hajj operations, taking people's money. The authorities were going to report on some of their activities against these crimes. This is a look at or a summary of the news items. Following the news tonight, for our social segment, we're going to be joined by a brother Muhammad. He is a soft skill trainer. He works with organizations on professional development. Brother Osama is with us tonight to host this discussion about Hajj as an incident in our lives, a critical incident, a turning point that we can use for our own personal development. This is the topic of our discussion for the social segment following the news. We'll take a short break right now and come back with the news. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the program Hajj Day Today. Thank you again for tuning in. For our first item this evening, we will go to Saudi Arabia at the site of the Grand Mosque. King Abdullah, he is talking here about the Haram expansion project, which has increased the prayer area at the Grand Mosque in Mecca, is more than halfway completed. And it is available to accommodate this year's more than 2 million pilgrims. Again, more than half, about 2/3 of the project has been completed. In addition, King Abdullah, he ordered the opening of the Mataf, or the circumambulation area around the Holy Kaaba, which accommodates 130,000 Hajjs per hour, which is up from 52,000 per hour previously before the expansion project. Sheikh Abdul Rahman Al Saud, the head of the presidency of the two holy mosques, he thanked King Abdullah for his directive regarding opening this expansion area around the Kaaba, saying that it would reduce congestion and help pilgrims perform their religious rituals with greater ease. The project, it includes the construction of a special floor near the Mataf for people with disabilities. So we're continuing to see a very significant project being done again, as the official said here from the presidency office of the two holy mosques, to make it easier for Muslims to perform their rites without as much congestion as we have been accustomed to in the past years. We will stay in Saudi Arabia for our next story. This is about the khutbah that was given yesterday by the Grand Mufti. Sheikh Abdulaziz Al Sheikh, in his khutbah yesterday on Friday in Riyadh, he advised Hajj pilgrims to avoid politicizing the Hajj. Sheikh Abdulaziz, he reminded the pilgrims that the main aim of the Hajj should be remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He cautioned pilgrims to guard their thoughts against what he said, quote, was evil and wrong ideas, deviant ideologies, and abhorrent sectarianism, end quote. The Grand Mufti also urged Hajj pilgrims to obey the laws of the Saudi government, which has been established, he said, to ensure the safety of the pilgrims and to facilitate comfort during the pilgrimage. He also said that Allah warns in the Quran that there would be a most grievous penalty, quote unquote, for whoever is profane in their wrongdoing. And so we're very glad to see the brother here offering this advice. And it's very important, as he's saying later in the program, we're going to look at some of the efforts that the Saudi officials are taking against the criminals. The sheikh here was saying that there's a very severe penalty for those who profane the Hajj and profane the religious rites. And so we're going to look at this later in the program. For our next story, we'll go to the island nation of Maldives, where the President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Gayoom, as well as his First Lady, Ms. Ibrahim, on Friday, they traveled to Saudi Arabia to perform the Hajj pilgrimage. The Vice President of Maldives, as well as cabinet ministers and members of parliament, they were at the airport to bid the president and his wife farewell as they make their way to Saudi Arabia. This island nation of Maldives is comprised of 26 islands or atolls. It's located about 600 kilometers off India's southwest coast. It has a population of about 400,000. The official religion of the Maldives is Islam. Islam was introduced to the island during the last half of the 12th century. It has the distinction of having written the first Islamic criminal code, which is still waiting to be approved by the parliament. It was written in the year 2008, just a few years ago. There's about this year participating in the Hajj pilgrimage about 1,000 Muslims from Maldives who are either in Saudi Arabia or still making their way. We'll go to North Africa for our next story and a look at the situation that the Muslims are facing, the Hajjs are facing as they make their way from Libya to Saudi Arabia. They're traveling, the Libyans are traveling to Mecca to perform Hajj this year. They've been flying out by their hundreds, although the political crisis in the country has significantly brought down the number of Libyan pilgrims. In recent weeks, there's been fierce fighting between heavily armed militia groups for control over Libya's main airports in Tripoli as well as in Benghazi. This has halted a number of flight operations. Actually, they've been closed, the two airports there, leaving them with only one route to leave the country by air. The Saudi Arabian ambassador to Libya, Mr. Mohammed Al-Ali, he's been working from the neighboring state of Tunisia. He reported that the number of Hajj visas issued to Libyans over the past, for this current season, was 90,000, which was down from last year's figure of 135. Now, this was 90,000 not only for Hajj, but also for Umrah. The pilgrims have been flown, those who have left, they've been flown via military transport from air bases, particularly in Mitiga. This is a place where the only functional or operational airport is in Libya at the time. Also, the Red Crescent has been very helpful in helping the pilgrims travel to various locations where they can continue their pilgrimage and make their way to Saudi Arabia. We will go to the island of Cyprus for our next story. This is a divided island between Greeks and Turks, and we're going to take a look at the Muslims there on the Turkish side of the island, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. This year, a total of 114 Muslims will leave the island of Cyprus from the Turkish side and travel to Mecca for Hajj. The Religious Affairs Department on the island organized and conducted pre-trip Hajj training to familiarize the pilgrims about the various aspects of their spiritual journey. Due to the international embargo against the Turkish Republic of the Northern Cyprus, the pilgrims must first fly to Istanbul, Turkey, before continuing to Saudi Arabia. The Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, it declared its independence in 1983, and it is yet to have been recognized internationally except Turkey. It has been, the country is, the numbers are very low. We see just over 100 Muslims leaving from this Turkish side of the Cyprus. But alhamdulillah, despite the low numbers, we're glad to see they're making their way through Turkey and then to Saudi Arabia. We'll go to Singapore for our next story in the Asia Pacific. The minister there in charge of the Muslim affairs in Singapore, Dr. Yaqub Ibrahim, he expressed optimism that the Republic's official Hajj quota will be increased next year. Ibrahim, he is hoping to increase the number of Hajj spaces from 680 to 800, which the Saudi government had to decrease across, not only in Singapore, but across the Muslim world, which is related to the ongoing expansion projects in and around the Grand Mosque and other holy sites, which is now, again, about 2/3 completed. Mr. Ibrahim, he is speaking at the airport after sending off Singapore's largest group of pilgrims. There were about 231 pilgrims that left yesterday evening. He said, quote, "I am sure that Saudi will help us on our way to get more Hajj spaces for next year because they know that our pilgrims are well behaved," he said. He said that we do not have a record of creating any problems while making pilgrimage in the Holy Land. We'll go to Pakistan for our next story, where the Saudi embassy has announced as of Friday that it has completed processing all of the Hajj visas for the Pakistani Muslims. This year, there are over 143,000 Muslims traveling from Pakistan to perform the Hajj in the holy city. Saudi wished the Pakistani Muslims, the Saudi officials in Pakistan, he expressed his hope that they can perform the Hajj pilgrimage in a way that benefits them and rewards them, and that they can safely, after completing a very rewarding Hajj, return safely to their home and continue in Pakistan. We'll go to West Africa for our next story. In Nigeria, to Lagos. The Muslim Pilgrims Board in the state of Lagos has given cash awards of $26 or 100 Saudi riyal as financial support to each of the nearly 3,100 citizens from the state for purchasing the white unstitched ihram clothing that is used for performing the Hajj. The State Commissioner for Home Affairs and Culture, he said that this was a gesture to add convenience for the pilgrims and to support their overall success in the Hajj. Additionally, the state governor in Lagos, Batunde Fashola, he gave each of the pilgrims $20 or 75 Saudi riyal as a token from his personal funds. Fashola, he urged the pilgrims in a meeting with them of his state to be good ambassadors while they're performing the Hajj as representatives not only of the state but the nation of Nigeria. This is a very nice gesture by the governor as well as the government, the state government, giving support, financial support for the Muslims making their way for Hajj. We will go back to Saudi Arabia for our next story. This is a look at the authorities there and their efforts to stop the criminal activities related to Hajj. The commander of Saudi Arabia's passport department, General Luqman al-Harbi, on Friday at a press conference, he announced the establishment of 2 centers for processing Hajj violators, promising to deal very firmly with those who engage in illegally smuggling pilgrims into the country. The commander, he said that all violators caught by security forces will be referred to these 2 centers for punitive actions, which is open on a 24/7 basis. The commander, he said that Saudi citizens and others charged with smuggling pilgrims will be fined $2,600 per pilgrim, and they will be referred to the courts for further punishment. He added that the expatriates caught in violation will be deported and barred from returning to the kingdom for a period of 10 years. So we're glad to see a strong arm by Saudi authorities to put a stop to the illegal. I personally, I don't understand how, if I traveled to make Hajj through illegal means, how I could have the peace of mind to perform the Hajj. So this is good that the authorities there are putting a stop to it as best they can. We will stay in Saudi Arabia for our next item. This is the last item for the news segment tonight. This is a look at a group of men who have been arrested by the Saudi authorities. 6 bogus Hajj operators. They were arrested in Riyadh and Jabal. Recently, the police accused them of running these bogus Hajj operations and taking money from unsuspecting Muslims who are wanting to perform the pilgrimage. The spokesman for the police said that they were working in an unlicensed office and that all of their belongings and equipment were seized, and they also urged, they used this opportunity to urge the people to be very careful about signing contracts and giving money to these companies, especially if they're offering the services for very low costs. They said that this would be a telltale sign. In the capital, 4 bogus Hajj operators were booked for operating fake companies, and their offices were closed down. It's very unfortunate that we would have to have the authorities to handle this kind of thing, but you know, we're glad that we have them, the forces there to not only protect the safety and security of the pilgrims, but to preserve. I mean, they're losing the potential of them losing their money, which is not an easy thing. You know, some people cannot afford to make the Hajj but once in their lifetime. So it's very important for us to take the necessary efforts, as we see here, to stop these illegal Hajj operators where it's possible. Thank you so much for tuning in to the program. We will take a break now and look at the expected weather for tomorrow. After the break, we'll come back for our social segment. Tonight's social segment is going to be, we're joined by a skills trainer. He works with professional organizations on professional development, and we're going to talk about how Hajj can be a turning point and used for personal development in our lives. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this very informative and interesting discussion. Inshallah, we'll be back tomorrow with more. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back, my dear brothers and sisters, and thank you so much for continuing to be with us here this evening as we continue our live coverage in the first 10 days of the Hajj. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for joining us, and as always, we welcome all our brothers and sisters who are currently either in Mecca or in Medina. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this Hajj of benefit for you, and make dua for all of us who were not able to make it to Hajj this year, inshallah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring you back safely to your families and to your home countries, inshallah. As always, my dear brothers and sisters, what we try to do in these days leading up to the Hajj season is we try to give you some of the lessons that we can learn as Muslims. Those of us who are going to Hajj or who are in the Hajj area right now, or those of us who were not able to make it this year. There are many lessons, my dear brothers and sisters, that we can all learn and that we can all benefit from as we listen here tonight, inshallah. And tonight, inshallah, we want to focus on something that is very, very important. As Muslims, we all, my dear brothers and sisters, try our best to change. We may not always be at our best. We may go through some good times and some bad times. Times where our iman is high and our actions are really good with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and other times when that is not the case all the time. But Hajj for many people should be, and I say should be, a turning point. It should be a point of change, a personal growth experience. And we hope that it is that for all our brothers and sisters who are there at Hajj this year, and for all those of us who have either made Hajj in the past or plan to make Hajj in the near future as well, inshallah. So we want to talk about that tonight. How can Hajj be a changing experience in a person's life? And the person who goes to Hajj is not simply the same person who comes back from Hajj, but that they are a changed person, inshallah. And I'm really honored to be joined by two great brothers to discuss this issue with us. Brother Ahmed Ramadan, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you and welcome to the program.
The pleasure is mine.
Jazakallah khair. And Brother Mahmoud Nuno, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for hosting me.
Jazakallah khair. Brother Ahmed, let me begin by asking you, do you think that Hajj can really be a turning point in a person's life, or is it just like any other ritual, that he is obligated to do and he does it and that's it?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Of course, pilgrimage is a turning point right from the beginning, because it's not just an ordinary ritual. Right, you just start by a long journey. You take time, and you take a long time, and you pay money. You do lots of things to do this, and throughout the stages, it's a long journey with lots of stages, and through these stages you learn. Every time you discover something new, you go there, you find the atmosphere is different. You are there with God in Mecca. So it's completely different, and you learn all the time. All the time you learn, and you discover that you change. You can just feel it, that you change. Spiritually you change, your manners change, your personality change, everything changes.
Jazakallah khair. Brother Mahmoud, Brother Ahmed focused on a bit on before Hajj, right? And that's one point that I want to ask you. Really, there are a lot of preparations that a person takes before they go to Hajj. Your thoughts about that?
Yeah, when life goes faster and people are already busy saving some money and making accounts, and you kind of want to detach yourself suddenly from all these things because it's time for Hajj that just came. You need to make sure you're ready for it. You need to make sure you've been trained well. So I'm going to make sure to mention an example from Malaysia at this point. So in terms of the word preparations, in Malaysia, people usually spend about from 4 to 6 months getting training before they go to Hajj. And they do a simulation, they practice everything, so that when they go to Hajj, it sounds familiar, and they make sure they don't miss any of the rituals. And at the same point of preparation, let me mention an example that is relevant, kind of relevant. When we kind of book a flight, we need to go on a vacation. You keep searching online for websites, you keep asking friends which one is the best airline. So from there, you had a great plan. The same goes for Hajj. You need to plan that you're spiritually ready to be there between the hands of God, and you're ready to detach yourself from life, and yes, I'm going to endure the tiredness and everything. No.
SubhanAllah. As you said, there's really a lot that goes into the preparation stage. One of the most important things is for a person really to make an intention for their Hajj to be accepted. And there are many scholars who say that one of the signs that your Hajj has been accepted is that you come back a changed person. and
Yeah.
that change is rather sustainable. You know, that doesn't mean that you should always be on the top of your game all the time, but that you really at least have changed some aspects in your life permanently. Your thoughts about that, Brother Ahmed?
Well, actually, I'd like to give a hadith with the Prophet, peace and the
Sallallahu alaihi
blessing of Allah be upon him.
wasallam.
The hadith said what means that whenever someone goes to do the pilgrimage and makes no mistakes, and when he gets back as if he is newly born. So you are just like a child. You start a new page. It's a blank page. It's a white page without any kind of sins, any kind of any mistakes. So you're newly born. You start again, and you just feel that you're a new man with a new perspective. You're really happy with this new life. You just can feel it. Actually, unfortunately, I didn't go for pilgrimage. I was born in Saudi Arabia, by the way, but I came here when I was young. I made Umrah lots of times, but pilgrimage, up till now, I'm not lucky yet. But I used to ask my mother and my father about their pilgrimage, because they did pilgrimage 3 times. And when they tell me about their experiences about pilgrimage, I feel that, oh, like you, really, you're lucky. A couple of days ago, I spoke with my mother. I asked her, when she watches TV and looks at, the Kaaba and the Medina, she feels something strange. I just ask her, so why do you change when you look at these scenes from Kaaba or Medina? She says, it's really a new life. Everything is different. And when she speaks, she feels comfortable, and she feels a kind of missing, a kind of passion.
She's reminiscing about the days.
Yeah. She said, okay, so my mother, you are a very good person for me. How about changing? Have you changed after pilgrimage, after Hajj? She said, of course I changed. Lots of things that were bad in my personality, I changed it after pilgrimage.
Jazakallah khair, beautiful story. Thank you so much. Brother Mahmoud, what changes should occur to a Muslim before going to Hajj and after going to Hajj? I mean, how should he be a changed person after Hajj?
All right, it's all about the mindset. Well, if you decide that it's a 2-week vacation and I'm just going for 2 weeks to do the fard that you've been asked through God, and then I come back the same person, there is no doubt you're not going to change. So we should have the intention before we travel that we're looking forward at the hardest part of it when you leave from there. Are you going to be the same person who was there? Now, when you are there now, imagine yourself in a couple of months from now. Are you going to be the same person who's avoiding angerness, the person who's trying to be friendly, the person who's trying to make sure God is satisfied, and you're making everything that makes God happy? So from there, if I'm not really sure that I'm going to continue doing the same thing, if I don't have the reflection on my reactions, if I don't change, if I don't look positively, if I don't want to develop my personality, so from there you need to make sure, I need to develop myself. I need to make sure I have a positive attitude. I need to change for the better.
Well, you said a vacation, right? Some people may take Hajj as a vacation. I find that hard to believe, you know what I mean? Even though some people, you're right, they do take it as a vacation, but it's hard to believe because, to be honest, there's nothing like beautiful in the area where a person is going. It's full of mountains and desert. It's not like a person is going like to
like
the
Hawaii.
sea. Exactly, it's not like Hawaii, right? You know what I mean? So there really needs to be a bigger intention, and the fact that so many people from around the world come every year, and at the same time, millions are there, but millions more are only wishing that they would go. I think. I really believe that at least 1 billion out of the 1.5 billion Muslims in the world would wish to go to Hajj every year. Even though, of course, that's not possible, but at least we have that desire or that intention. Brother Ahmed, why do you think that is the case, even though it's not a touristic location?
Well, it's not touristic, but because just knowing that in this place exactly about 14th centuries ago, someone was born, and this one is the Prophet alayhi salatu
SubhanAllah.
wasalam. You feel that when you go there, oh my God, the Prophet stepped here, the Prophet stepped there, the Prophet drank water here, and you feel, you can smell, if you just think about hearing his voice, hearing, his talking with his companions, Abu Bakr was here, Umar was here. So just bearing this in mind, oh, it's how vacation, how beautiful is that? If you get the chance to go to Hawaii for 1 year and to stay here for even one night, and you have this in mind, you as a Muslim, you love your Prophet, you love the companions, you are proud of being a Muslim, so you'll stay here. Of course, you'll choose to be in Mecca.
Jazakallah khair.
What is
Barakallah
it?
feek. Brother Mahmoud, what does Hajj teach us as Muslims?
It teaches us to be patient. When you go there and you find yourself wearing the same thing as the others, you find yourself not different. You speak the same tongue because you all repeat the same thing. There is no difference in nationality, in color, in race, and all people are there on the same reason. I mean, they are there for the same reason, and they are doing the same things. So I basically want to say that in this place, it's the biggest Muslim gathering on earth when Hajj times come, because
some people say it's the biggest conference in the world.
The biggest conference,
Yeah.
yes, it's true. But I'm sure there would be no conference on earth that makes all people equal like this one.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of change, do you think we really change when we go back to our home countries, or even though we're all wearing the same clothes in Hajj, when we come back, we return to the idea of I'm better than this person because I'm lighter skinned, or I'm better than this person because I come from a bigger family, or I'm better than this person because he's from this country and I'm from this country. How can we really implement that change in our life?
Yeah, that's a very good question that everyone is preparing for Hajj now should think about. And everyone, when you ask them, what was the best book you've read or the best movie you've seen? And they say, yeah, I like the one that was thought-provoking. Well, Hajj is thought-provoking because you should think about yourself, listen to your inner calling. And you've got time there to think about yourself. You've got time to keep all the stress away. And then I'm free now, I'm here to develop my spirit. I'm totally here, physically and spiritually. If you're looking for a change, you will. But if you're traveling because I just want to make sure I do what Allah said, and just to follow without understanding, without really changing, you'll never change. So
it's very interesting. So what you're saying is that you should make a special intention for change.
Exactly. Exactly. Because if you don't have this intention before you travel, there is no doubt you're going to be the same person when you go back. People will not feel you're changed. And at the same time, I believe that every person who goes there, when we first see them after they come back, we expect a huge positive energy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Everyone wants to go and meet the Hajji and see what he's feeling.
Exactly.
Yes, this is a very good point in my brother speaking, which is, yes, it's obligatory to do pilgrimage whenever you are able to do it. But now, why? You just have to ask yourself why. I can benefit from this Hajj whenever you have the intention of learning something new. Whenever you step, wherever you go, you have to learn something new. Now you are doing the pilgrimage. Is it just because God ordered me to do that, or because there's something I just need to change something in my personality? I have to change. Yes, so I have the intention to change myself. You just go because you love it. It's not you're not obliged to do it because it's just something obligatory. No, you have to change. You have to think deeply about yourself and to change. So you have the intention to do something new for yourself. That's it.
Friendship is very important and something that we seek in terms of change. And people do build a lot of friends at Hajj from different countries around the world, as you said. And now it's much easier to stay in touch with these people because you can add each other on Facebook and things like that, and it won't cost you a thing to stay in touch, or you can talk over Skype.
Social networking.
Exactly. So, your thoughts about friendship and its importance relating to Hajj?
All right. I mean, when we start about, like, if you're going to Hajj, and you should make sure you have a special company with you, some people who are going to support you to continue Hajj till the end. But I mean, getting back, I have a very good example here to mention.
Please.
I mean, in a place that I was training people, it was teamwork and leadership course. So while training these people, I heard a very interesting story, and Hajj is included in that. So there was that boss or manager who keep hearing conflicts and small things that keep happening, and oh, I don't like your work, and me too, I also don't like it. And then both of them have to complete each other. So what the manager did when Hajj time came,
Basically, the manager needs both of them, right? He can't,
yeah,
you can't let one
you
of them
just
go.
can't leave any of them because, yeah, as I said, they complete each other.
Yeah.
And they have to work together.
Yeah.
It's not like, all right, good morning. Yeah, it was nice seeing you today by the end of the day. But they have to work together. So the manager decided to book 2 places for those 2 team members to travel together on Hajj. So that they would positively have the energy together. And it worked. I mean, when they came back, they made sure to have the same spirit they used to have there.
MashaAllah.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in order for a person's Hajj to be accepted, you know, they can't like fight with people. They can't have conflicts.
Exactly.
Right?
I'm
So
sure it was very hard at the beginning to avoid angerness.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was very hard to say, oh, that guy I used to have at work. But now I have to make sure I'm satisfying God, and it's an opportunity that might come once in life.
Yeah.
MashaAllah. Brother Ahmed, when you hear a story like that, you know, what comes to your mind, thinking that it's so important for a person to make friends at Hajj, but at the same time also, you know, to develop his friends when he comes back to his home country?
Yes, in Hajj, as we say, you know, you meet different people, you speak with, you find different languages. So whenever you have a friend who is black and another friend who is white, and another friend from Japan, some friend from Nigeria, so you're born to be sociable, you know. So you learn to be sociable. So whenever you come back, I think it's easy to make friends. And whenever you find someone in the street, you are sociable enough to you know, to acquire him and to make friendship. It's really easy because there you learn to be sociable. Actually, when you speak about pilgrimage, and I'd like to try all these things.
Yeah,
really.
I think all 3 of us would, right? Because I don't think either me, you, or Brother Mahmoud has been to Hajj before, and we really wish we can go, inshallah, anytime soon. And also, our brothers and sisters are watching. You know, if you are in Mecca or Medina right now and you're watching us, please do give us a call and share your thoughts with us. You know, tell us what you're feeling and how the Hajj experience is this year, especially if it's your first time at Hajj. Do give us a call, inshallah. You should be seeing the numbers on your screen momentarily, inshallah. Brother Mahmoud, you know, when we want to make a change in our life, right, especially a type of positive change, which should always be the case, many times we come up with excuses, right, that hinder this process. How can we, what are these excuses, first of all, and how can we overcome them?
All right, so I think the first reason why we excuse ourselves is that we keep repeating the same mistakes, but we don't learn from them. And we don't learn from the others' mistakes. So, I mean, encourage yourself to learn from your mistakes. I mean, whenever you do it, it's fine. I mean, we're still humans. I mean, we will never stop making mistakes, but the wrong part is to stop learning from it. Some people keep blaming themselves for their lost years. Oh, I haven't saved money. My education is not well enough. I can't find a suitable job. So stop blaming yourself for the previous years, or the lost years as people call it, and start taking actions, start being effective. Search for work, put a plan and a strategy, and start working on it. I mean, there must be a change. I mean, it all starts by change. If you change, excuses will stop following you. You should send them packing and say, oh, you're fired.
Yes, that's the point. You know, even thinking about pilgrimage without doing it, you cannot change. From the very beginning, from the start. I need to do pilgrimage. I don't have money. So why don't you start now? to save money. You don't have good education, don't have good job. Okay, I will seek for a good job, just for earning money and to save money for pilgrimage. So even thinking about pilgrimage, you can change.
Yeah, I'd like to add in this. I mean, even some people say, oh, can I really save some money at the beginning to go for it? Well, actually, you can just start by getting some training on how to be there. Like, I mean, how rituals and things go there. Like, you cannot go on Hajj unless you're educated. How does it work there? So, I mean, even some people say, oh, we don't have money, but still you can learn. Still you can use books and internet to start your first step towards Hajj.
Jazakumullah khairan. We're going to take a look at a report, inshallah, in just a moment. When we come back, I want to ask you guys, I think, an important question that relates to what we're talking about. Is it important for a person to have specific goals or specific things that he wants to change on after he comes back from Hajj? And should he maybe make a checklist of those things? Inshallah, after this report. So, my dear brothers and sisters, an important report about Hajj and personal growth. We'll take a look.
Beyond a simple journey, a rewarding Hajj. Hajj is a spiritual journey. It is a call. It is a promise. It is an opportunity. It is an awakening. It is a purification. It is a duty to worship Almighty Allah. Think about the sacrifice of the pilgrim who leaves his family, means of livelihood, and comfort of his home to make this blessed journey. He or she will encounter a lot of challenges, difficulties, and more, but earning the pleasure of the one for whom this journey is carried out will make all the hard work seem easier. The state of Ihram confers certain obligatory acts on pilgrims in much the same way it makes others prohibited. The pilgrim is thus faced with whispers from Satan and a range of temptations only self-control can overcome. A wise pilgrim has the aim to performing Hajj correctly and properly in order that their Hajj will be accepted. As such, he or she performs all rites free of error and misguidance. And this brings about positive change from striving to attain excellence rather than sinking in excuses. Hajj brings together people of all races and colors in a unique blend of brotherhood in your daily life. Such unity and brotherhood can serve as a support system to help you navigate through personal and professional changes. It is a system that has no cultural or class boundaries. It increases the bonds of love and motivation to do good deeds. This motivation also provides strength when you feel down, and it presents examples you can follow or learn from. The days of Eid are the days of joy and happiness. They are intended for eating, drinking, and remembering of Allah, just as the pilgrim gets to relax after much striving. So, you remember to take a break and celebrate your little and big success after much hard work. Acknowledge your milestones and push ahead while maintaining high standards. Before making this journey, the pilgrim devotes time to courses, trainings, and readings to learn more about this great worship. With the knowledge that Hajj is not a pleasure or sightseeing trip, it is not a cultural display forum or avenue for family get-togethers. Rather, it is a form of worship and obedience to Almighty Allah. It is travel to answer the call of Allah through intensive worship. Your career, family or studies, or whatever you will be attending to during this Hajj lesson, away from the holy precincts, is your worship opportunity. Make every moment count. Renew your intention and do things right as they should be done. The pilgrims fulfill their obligatory worship rites. The pilgrims fulfill their obligatory worship rites, such as prayers, make supplications, engage in remembrance of Allah, and complete the Hajj rites in servitude, humility, and with sincerity. Their devotion is rewarded none but they, as Allah needs nothing from his servants, just as he needs nothing from flesh and blood of the sacrificial animals they slaughter in his name during the day of the Eid. Begin everything you do today with a sincere intention. Begin with a why, and think about better ways you can serve with sincerity to your Creator, subhanahu wa ta'ala, yourself and others around you. Don't feel left out. If you do not have the opportunity to perform the Hajj this year, whether you will be spending quality time with your family or engaging mostly in your business, studies, or other activities during this period, when others will be flying out to Mecca to join millions of people from all over the world. Use these Hajj lessons for personal growth to better yourself, your mind, your body, and even your soul. When you aim at attaining better life and strive towards personal growth, you will find it easier to make relevant personal changes that will facilitate this goal. Therefore, be steadfast, spend more time, and Almighty Allah will bless you.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back, my dear brothers and sisters, to Hajj Day. Today, our continuous live coverage of Hajj this year. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make our brothers and sisters at Hajj safe and sound, and to make them come back, inshaAllah, with no sins at all, and they start a new life. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them and bless every single person who has the intention to go to Hajj but was not able to make it this year for one reason or another, including a couple of our brothers who are here at Huda TV who were not able to make it to Hajj this year because of lack of visas. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him a visa from him subhanahu wa ta'ala next year, inshaAllah, so that they are able to go to Hajj, and maybe before then they can go to Umrah as well, inshaAllah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them and reward them for their intention as if they were there this year, inshaAllah. My dear brothers and sisters, as we continue talking here tonight about change, change is absolutely, absolutely important for a Muslim in this time and age. Really, we have to change, because to be honest with you, even as an ummah, on the ummah level, we're not doing so well. We're actually at one of the weakest points in our history as an ummah. So if we are to change, obviously it has to start with us as individuals. Hajj really is a changing point or a turning point in a person's life, a point for change and for a person to really rethink his relationship with his Creator. Brother Mahmoud, if I can ask you, before the report, I was wondering, do you think it's important for a person to set his specific goals? You know, that I don't just want to go to Hajj and come back a changed person, but basically to have measurable goals of how will I come back a changed person? How can I measure, that I came back as a changed person? I'll give you an example. For example, a person who wants to lose weight. Maybe they're currently around 90 kilograms or so, and they want to, go down to 75 kilograms. I don't think it's enough for them to say, okay, I want to lose weight. But they have to know where they stand right now and where they want to go. Yeah. Do you feel that a person, before they go to Hajj, or maybe as our brothers and sisters who are either in Mecca or Medina right now are watching us, do you feel it's really necessary for them to get a pen and paper, or to write down on their notebook or whatever tab or whatever the case may be, specific goals that they want to change in after they are done with Hajj?
All right. I see your point. You mean, like, if someone wants to lose weight, I don't think it's an easy decision to start. And the decision is actually easy, but I mean, the practical part is the difficult. Mm-hmm. But I believe, yes, I believe you can do you can make this little decision while you're there, because it's the high time where you get this powerful push that you're spiritually active, you're very close to God. You're going to say, yes, I'm going to put a plan, I need to start working on it. And I think you recharged at Hajj. You recharged energy to do that. Mm-hmm. Because we all go there to develop our spiritual state. Like, we're not stable, we want to detach ourselves from everything. And I'm sure also at the same time you were working and you're on the same ordinary day where most probably you're not so close to God as you are at Hajj. So, I mean, that's a powerful push that, yes, it could be a turning point. You can start not only planning for losing weight, but you can start business. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can suddenly start in a very difficult decision. You can start making it.
I mean, I was given the example of losing weight as just an example. Like, if a person wants to lose weight,
and it could be true.
He needs to set goals. Yeah. Just like a person who goes to Hajj, for example. Like, I want to come back from Hajj a changed person in the way I look at other people, right? Mm-hmm. For example, in the way, in my understanding of the meaning of the word sacrifice, because when you go to Hajj, you do sacrifice a lot. So do you think it's important for us to actually write these things down, to make a checklist, okay, and kind of to evaluate ourselves once again, maybe a year after Hajj or 5 years after Hajj?
That's a very positive part of it, because if you write it, you keep reminding yourself every time, mm-hmm. and you keep yourself on track, and you want to make sure for how many months or how many weeks mm-hmm. I've already achieved how many of them. And by the way, I'm going to mention something that we usually do in Ramadan, mm-hmm. because we usually say, I need something to be done this year. So if we are in Ramadan now, and you keep praying whole Ramadan, that these things to be done, and you keep making dua to Allah, it's like, I don't want to say 100% sure, because still it's God's will, but I mean, usually the next Ramadan doesn't come unless this thing has really happened. Like, the wish you really want it.
Mm-hmm. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much, Brother Mahmoud.
You're welcome.
Brother Ahmed, your thoughts? Do you think it's important for us to have specific set goals?
Well, actually, you have to think about yourself before you go. Try to evaluate yourself. Make self-evaluation. Now, I have some problems with God. The relationship between me and God. Am I close? And of course, I'm going to be close to God. But what I'm talking about is the atmosphere. How can I transfer the atmosphere from the Hajj to be existed here? To imagine that all the time, to imagine that I'm all the time, the whole year, the whole of my day is as if I was in Hajj. So the atmosphere there, I just transfer it from there to my everyday life. Mm-hmm. So you make a self-evaluation. My trust in Allah. Sometimes I may face hard situations. So how is my reaction? Think about some experiences. Now I was angry there. I didn't, I didn't do the right thing. I didn't believe in God strongly. But I will get back from Hajj with a complete trust in Allah, that Allah is the Almighty, and He is my God, and I could make it. I could make it to do pilgrimage, and this is from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Now I am back, and all what happens is from God Subhanahu wa Taala.
Yes.
So you just think about yourself. My trust in Allah. The temptations of life. Life is full of temptations. I used to be, yes. Whenever I find something here, and it's not a good thing, I go to it. For example, money. I used to get money from wherever.
Whether it's
I
a halal
can.
source or haram source.
Yes. So you have to think about think about your money. How can you get your money? So life temptations, trust in Allah. Your every problem, everything you find a shortage, or you find just a disadvantage in your character. Whenever you go back from Hajj, think about these things again, but not right after you come back. No, just after a long time. You just come back again and think about yourself. Have I done these things? Have I succeeded or not?
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. Brother Mahmoud, self-control is something that a person who goes to Hajj does while he's at Hajj. Of course, he tries to control himself in many aspects, including, for example, some things that are normally halal in a person's life, they are haram during Hajj, like having a relationship with one's wife. Being in the state of ihram, there are some things that you can do and other things that you're not allowed to do. So you're practicing self-control. And at the same time, you're not allowed to get angry and to have fights with people and things like that. When a person comes back, how can he develop his or her self-control?
All right. Well, Hajj is a reminder from God. When we all go to Hajj, Allah put certain instructions that we need to follow so that He may, inshallah, accept it from us. While we're there, it should be a strong reminder. So when you go back, you should keep reminding yourself who's the same person who was there. Now, those people who are there on Hajj waiting to start doing Hajj, I'm sure they are different people now than they were in their own countries. Like, not because they are they were bad people and now they are good, but I mean the business life and the busy day, and on daily basis they are busy with things and attached with things and stories and commitments, but now they are not. So they have free mind. They need to make sure while they're stressed, they need to make sure, I still have my self-control, and they might remind themselves with the difficult situations that used to happen during Hajj, that yes, even though I had to be okay, I needed to be that person so that Allah would accept it. And also there is a good thing that people may remind themselves, well, this is the land of God. I mean, it's not only the Kaaba. So if God is there, He's still here, anywhere on earth.
Yes.
So we should have self-control either there or here.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching us, everywhere, right?
Exactly. I mean, I can worship God here right now, and also I can go there. But there it's a special event that God wanted to strongly remind us.
Yes.
Jazakallah khair. What are your thoughts about self-control, brother?
Yes, self-control is that to have in mind that Allah all the time watches you. So Allah is there and Allah is here. So this is the point that I was talking about, transferring the environment, the atmosphere, the surroundings from the Kaaba to your everyday life. Now I'm here, so it's not because you were there and just this occasion because you go there to do pilgrimage that you are there. It's something, and here is something different. No. You have to remember God, and you have to keep in mind that God watches you wherever you are. So you watch God there, and you just call Him there. So just keep trying, call Him here. Try to keep calling Him here and ask Him for help, and He will be right with you. So just self-control is starting from being close to Allah. Without being close to Allah, you will be away. and the life temptations will, you will go off the beaten track. So just you learn from the Hajj to be close to Allah. So keep being close to Allah everywhere, and you will manage it. You will manage to control yourself.
Jazakallah khair. Brother Mahmoud, anger. A lot of people are angry today in their personal lives. Some people are angry, towards their most loved ones, like their children or their wives or their husbands or whatever the case may be. But Hajj really teaches us to overcome this anger and to try to really treat it and cure it, really. When a person tries to hold in that anger or, tries to act in a different way, because they know that there's like if they do get angry, they will be in big trouble. And their Hajj really could be void. I mean, it's as bad as that. What does Hajj teach us when it comes to avoiding being angry, and how can we take that back when we go back home?
I see. All right. Well, when you start planning for Hajj, it's a huge plan. You save a lot of money to start spending it on something that you really wanted to do. You've left your place, you've left your country, you've traveled there, and you really don't want to lose this.
Definitely.
So that's one of the things that gives you a push not to be an angry person as you used to be. So for those people who are seeing us now and are preparing themselves for Hajj, I'm sure that they are kind of trying to avoid anything that might make me upset or sad. Or even when it happens, they try to receive it easily and with a pure heart. What we need to do is, when we finish the Hajj and people go back to their countries, they need to continue doing that. They don't really need to stop being helpful, friendly, not angry, and at the same time, it needs you to practice. Practice makes perfect. So if you practice at Hajj not to be angry, when you go back home, you still can continue practicing. Oh, I've been angry with this person, I've been angry with my boss, I've been angry with my son or daughter. Well, why can't I start looking at a different perspective? You see, so I mean, we can start practicing not being angry, like consider it as an hourly training every day. Oh, in this hour I need to stop. And then tomorrow in those 2 hours, let's try to make sure in the coming 2 hours, I'm going to keep everything perfect, even if something happens that makes me angry.
Beautiful strategy. Thank you. Brothers, I want to read a statement to you.
Sure.
It's actually about 3 or 4 lines, and I want to hear your thoughts about it, okay?
All right.
It's talking about change, the theme of tonight's discussion. Change begins with you, and change only happens when you take action. Do not spend the days of Hajj daydreaming about Hajj. Take action. Do something today. Begin with one Hajj lesson and change your life. Your thoughts?
Well, really beautiful words. Yes, you have to take the first step. For example, you're not fortunate to go to do pilgrimage, and after just 5 days, we will live in the Arafat day, Arafat day. You have the chance to go fasting on that day and to pray and to worship God. So you just take a step there on that day. I'm not sure about it, but if you just go fasting for that day and you are just to be devoted to God, as if you do pilgrimage or something. I'm not sure about this.
You talk about the day of Arafah?
Yes.
A person who is at Hajj or who's not at Hajj?
Oh, no, it's not at Hajj.
The person who's not at Hajj, gets their sins expiated for a year in advance and a year in the past.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. People who do pilgrimage, they get back with their sins, free from sins.
Yeah.
So you go fasting on that day, so you'll be from sins. So it's close. It's not the same thawab, but it's close to being at pilgrimage. So you go fasting on that day and you pray, you worship God, and you just be confident that God will forgive you and will forgive all your sins. Yes.
Jazakallah khair. Brother Mahmoud, your thoughts about these few lines?
Yeah, well, Hajj is a rare opportunity for forgiveness, for a positive change, for turning to the Creator, and I would say for Jannah, for paradise, inshallah.
I really believe that. I mean, subhanAllah, but we really have to. Do you think that change comes from within, or is it like there's outside factors that bring about change? Or is it me, like I decide that I want to be a changed person?
You're the expert in yourself. I mean, nobody decides for you. I mean, you decide for yourself. For example, when you started planning for Hajj, nobody came and say, well, do you want to come this year or not? But if you do that, well, it's not even you, but it should start from inside. You should listen to your inner calling. And if you really hate it and you're bored of it, you should start working on it. I hate being angry. Who makes you angry? You. I mean, nothing annoys you unless you allowed it to.
Jazakallah khairan. We only have about 3 to 4 minutes left in the program, so I want to give a couple minutes each to both of you. And I want you to address two groups of people, either brothers and sisters who are there at Hajj, and tell them about change and how we're hoping for them to, to change, because when they change and they come back, they bring that positive attitude to their communities, whether they live, in Muslim countries or in Muslim communities and non-Muslim countries. And also, those of us who are not at Hajj, are we really missing out this year because we're not at Hajj, or is there something that we can do this year in these first 10 days, at least, of Dhul Hijjah, that will get us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will make us, change in our lives as well? Let me begin with you, brother.
Well, for the people who are not fortunate enough to do pilgrimage this year, and I am one of them.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, just keep being close to Allah, and this is from Allah. When you go to pilgrimage, it means that Allah loves you. But you have to be sure all the time that Allah loves you. This year you're not fortunate to do pilgrimage. Next year, inshallah, after next year, you will do pilgrimage. All what you have to do is just to keep close to Allah. It's not only right there in Kaaba to be close to Allah. This is not the occasion. Yeah, it's an occasion right there, and people who are there are lucky because the environment is different. But it's not. Don't take it as a reason to be far or to not to be close to Allah. For the people who are there, please just remember us in your supplications and your dua.
Jazakallah khairan. Short and sweet. Thank you. Brother Mahmoud, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I believe those who are not fortunate enough, as my brother here mentioned, to go this year, I'm sure they can do a lot. For example, one of the things that just came up to my mind, I mean, why can't we set like some training session for those people who just came back to spread the positivity they had to others?
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, why can't we spread the word? Why can't we get some people who like to tell stories and show us what happened, and we can tell people how they spiritually changed there and how were they before they travel to people now where they come back. I mean, they can know the story from A to Z. They can learn about it. And at the same time, initiatives starts from those people who feel less fortunate than others. Well, okay, I'm going to make a virtual Hajj online. Well, that's an idea that just came up for those people who are not fortunate enough to go this year, so that maybe if you're going next year or the year next, you've already had a visit online, but you'll make it real soon.
Yes.
So I mean, we can come up with so many ideas, and also we can encourage students or workers, or I mean, as a manager, you can encourage people in your team to come up with some ideas that might help you, as you're not fortunate enough to go this year, so you should do something different.
Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much, Brother Mahmoud.
Thank
And your final thought to brothers and sisters who are at Hajj this year. Do you have a quick word for them, because we're out of time?
Yeah, sure. I mean, they need to make sure, as they are detached really now from their normal life, when you go back to this life, don't get fully attached to it. Make sure you keep your soul and mind attached with Allah even when you leave the land.
Beautiful. Thank you so much to both of you, Brother Mahmoud. Thank you so much for your time for joining us here this evening.
Thanks for
Brother
hosting
Ahmed,
me.
thank you so much for being with us here as well.
Thank you very much.
Khair. My dear brothers and sisters, and thank you so much for having been with us here this evening. Our Hajj coverage continues tomorrow night, inshallah. Please join us then, inshallah. Until then, have a good night. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.